Hey, so welcome to seventh episode of BDR Best Practices. Once again, we've tried to think about something as relevant as possible for the sales community, and I think this is something that every single salesperson will kind of carry out in some shape or form, and that's reigniting conversations with prospects that have maybe turned you down, closed loss opportunities, or even customers that have churned maybe through COVID, and some kind of different and unique ways to re-engage those conversations without being that, hey, I'm just touching base kind of sales guy. So over to Jimmy for the first couple ideas.
Yeah, and I will say, if you ever want to re-engage with the prospect, it's Q4 when there's leftover budget. So I feel like it's especially timely. But re-engaging, right, it all starts with being organized. The average SDR over the course of the year, I mean, not a numbers guy, but I would say probably get like 200 to 500 replies if, at the minimum. It's not easy to go through all of those and decide who you're going to re-engage with. But be smart, be organized, right? Create a list, whether it's in LinkedIn Sales Navigator, your CRM, or even if it's an Excel file, just everyone that you've gotten an opportunity with in the past, right? Maybe people that you do a list of everyone that said, hey, please reach back out at a later point. Next thing you know, say those are only the two lists you're creating. If you're ever in an ops slump, you really need to get a meeting, just revert back to those, right? The messaging has to be there, which Scott will talk about. But you're gonna have such a better chance of getting engagement with people that have already, showed you the trust and given you time in the past. So it all starts with organization.
100%. Yeah, a couple of quick wins at the start of the month, get ahead of your target. It's a really smart way to do that. But like Jimmy said, the messaging has to be relevant, right? And so a couple of ideas around that. I think one of the most powerful ways is using previous pain points that are within the CRM and using that within your outreach, right? So that means you have to be on top of the game and being clean in the CRM first time round. But if you can float a couple of key pain points that they mentioned to you when you spoke initially, it resurfaces that pain. It obviously shapes the messaging and makes you show that you're relevant, but kind of implies you have a solution to it as well. I think checking their calendar, and obviously virtual events are so big right now. If you can come to them and say, hey, I learned a couple of really great things from your colleague who talked on this virtual event, or if they have a virtual event relevant to their line of business as well, really great way to show you're doing your homework and you're kind of present and really in the moment with them as a company as well. And then a couple of kind of tips that we put into so many of these best practice videos is job promotions, hiring new starters, personal interest in sports teams. This is just prospecting 101 for me. Using those types of things to shape your messaging, show you're relevant, and understand what the company's trying to achieve, and on a personal level as well. So what you want to say isn't always going to be what they're interested in. So just try and find that overlap.
Absolutely. And in my opinion, there's no better tool to allow yourself to be relevant than your prospect's social media, right? Because that's where they're posting a lot of their opinions. That's where they're posting their interests. Engage with that, right? You don't always have to comment on their LinkedIn, respond to their Twitter, but you can use, their message as the core body of an email that you send them. Hey, I saw XYZ, and this is what I think. But I do really encourage SDRs to feel confident enough to engage with your prospects LinkedIn, right? Share your opinion, because at the end of the day, your opinion, that's who you are. That's how your prospect's going to get to know you. Whether maybe it's COVID related, maybe it's industry related. Share your opinion. If it's politics, stay clear. I wouldn't recommend getting into that kind of a mud. But again, showing your opinion is really showing your personality, and that's how a prospect's going to remember who you are.
Is something happening in politics in the US at the moment, mate? I don't know. Is that relevant?
I don't know, but the New York Giants won last week, and that's all I care about.
I think sending blogs and memes is also a nice touch, right? Whether it's not even outside of work context, sending something funny, making them laugh on a Friday afternoon. I've seen a couple of BDRs getting shouts out for that on LinkedIn, and it's super powerful.
Bindon lied in 2024.
I know who I'm voting for. Anyways, I think gifting is another great thing, right? A couple of ideas that Jimmy's touched on there is really around deposits. And, what's more of a deposit than a personalized, timely, relevant gift to reignite things, right? Something that we've had huge success with during this lockdown period is personalized Amazon e-gifts. Such a simple idea. You can be nice and low value. You really don't have to break the bank. But ideas like when you see someone has a background in fine art and painting, dropping through an adult coloring book and tying in the messages to say, here's something to keep yourself occupied during lockdown 2.0, right? The conversation that starts off the back of that is such a warm conversation. And it really is a game changer. Now, you can do things around seasonal campaigns, right? So Halloween's just gone past. We did a whole ghosting campaign. Hey, you ghosted us last time. We'd love to spark things back up. Really easy to tie the messaging in and make it relevant because it's seasonal. Then there's simple ideas, right? Brownies, cookies, wine. Obviously, those go down a treat, and it's a great way to spark things back up. And then if you have that really kind of tier one, creme de la creme type list in your ICP, using relevant kind of gifting, where the gift maybe embodies the messaging that you're trying to put across. For example, cut through the noise is the kind of messaging we're tying around this Google Nest campaign around here. And I promise we bought these and didn't just get them free on Spotify. But yeah, gifting super powerful, definitely worth a go.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, goes back to the point of making deposits, because there's one thing in sales to make deposits, and you can't really make a deposit more than giving someone a gift. A great way to get re-engagement is asking for referrals, right? I think, you know, everyone has that ideal customer profile they go after. But with that being said, you know, different titles have different responsibilities at different companies. Say that 5 times fast. But point is, you're going to get some responses like, hey, I'm not the right person to reach out to. But if you send that, if that first email has value, it's a good email, you're building trust, the prospect trusts you, ask for that referral. Hey, I know you're not the right person. I apologize for that, but do you mind pointing me in the right direction? What's the worst thing that happens? They say no. I have an example from last week. I got shot down on a referral. The person said, hey, if you want to send me a pitch, I'll pass it along on your behalf. Guess what? Like, that's probably the best cold outreach possible. That guy passing it along, it's almost like him giving me a vote of confidence. And if he wouldn't pass it along, right, then I shaped that email to, I think, who the right person might be. Hey, I engaged with your colleague XYZ. You know, he said that you might be the right person to reach out to. All of a sudden, it's like, you know, you're putting on the full court press a little bit. Like, hey, I know you're the person to talk to. Like, this guy passed me along. Like, let's chat. You definitely have a better chance of getting a response there. So, you know, when in doubt, have the confidence to ask for that referral.
Nice. I love how you use XYZ. I think it's just literally just to show off the fact you have a different name for the letter Z.
No one even gets that, because no one in the US even knows Z's a thing.
Anyways, to wrap that one up, I really appreciate you watching until the end. I think if you're using phrases like I'm just bubbling this back to the top of your inbox, I'm just touching base, really think twice about that and use some of those ideas. I feel like any of these could be appropriate in replacing that. And yeah, XYZ ideas like that. And I'll throw it over to Jimmy for the finale.
Yeah, he's Z, I'm Z. Until next time.
Until next time. I like it.
I think that was a really good one too.
Yeah.
I got jokes for days.